see from the aeroplane, but this is both practical and a strategic transport thus. Rolling now, the Airbus A400M, known to the Royal Air Force as the Atlas. With any Airbus aircraft, it really promises much for the Royal Air Force Air Mobility Fleet, which Mark has undergone so much change in recent years. Yeah, we've just seen the retirement of the C-130K, the V-210 and TriStar after anywhere between 30 and 40 years of service. This aircraft represents
he's doing a circle round.
The jigsaw of the tactical and strategic air mobility fleet upgrade that the Royal Air Force has undergone. Aircraft being turned down to what will be a very tight 360-degree orbit in front of us. The aircraft due to gain its release for service into the Royal Air Force in September this year. My day job is working for the Assistant Chief of Air Staff as his delegate release service authority. And my team working full-time on this aircraft at the moment to ensure that it has a meaningful RPS around about September. There is a much awaited by the RAF, for the French Air Force already has the aircraft in service, and indeed has been using it for force operations in Mali. The Turkish Air Force has also taken delivery of its first A400M, then the UK's in September, as Mark said, and the German Luftwaffe in November. On current plans, Airbus hopes in 2015 to deliver 23 of these aircraft to customer nations. Apart from those that I've mentioned, the other customers thus far are Spain, Belgium, Malaysia and Luxembourg. I mentioned the multinational nature of the programme. The major assemblies are flown to the final assembly plant in Seville aboard the much modified Airbus A300 Beluga freighters. The British contribution to that effort being the outer wing box and the flaps. This aircraft has a lot of composites in the construction. 30% of its complete structure is actually made up of composites, and that Airbus says is more than any other large military aircraft. A slow pass here with the undercarriage down. This is an aircraft that can fly very slowly, slowly enough to refuel helicopters, and that is another of its intended roles. So the transport function meanwhile with a great carry weight. A few more departing, or another equivalent helicopter, the NH-90, but because a pair of Lynx-Saw taxis, and of course more significant numbers of vehicles. When it comes into service with the Royal Air Force this year, we go straight into the strategic air transport role. But as we build the fleet between now and 2022, we will incrementally start to take advantage of this outstanding capability into the more tactical roles. And here the A400M being bunkered over very, very steeply. The typical payload for the A400M would be something in the order of 20 tons. Of course, the controls are fly-by-wire, and Chief Test Pilot Ed Strongman says of this aircraft, every pilot who flies it has a smile on his face due to the A400M's handling and manoeuvrability. The test program of which this aircraft is part is going now very, very well. 2,300 flights have been completed as of the end of June, which amounts to more than 6,500 flying hours. 90% of the development and test effort is now done, and it's allowed two of the prototype aircraft to actually be, in effect, phased out of that program, one going into preservation, the other put in flyable storage. Now here comes the higher speed flypast, and at the end of this, we'll see something marked of that agility once again. Yeah, as it pulls up here, we'll see something exactly bearing in mind that most large aircraft are restricted to somewhere in the region of 40 degrees of bank. The forces on the vertical stabiliser here are absolutely immense.
What's that?
An absolutely beautiful, flowing demonstration of the aircraft here from an all-British crew on the flight deck, Chief Test Pilot Ed Strongman and his colleague Anthony Flynn. Ed is a graduate of the US Air Force Test Pilot School, not the Empire Test Pilot School, as I said yesterday. He's a former RAF C-130 Hercules captain, and he's been involved with various Airbus programs other than the A400M, and in fact in 2006 he carried out the first landing of the giant A380 on British soil when he brought one of the pre-production aircraft into Heathrow. And this display not over yet, because the landing, also an impressive illustration of the capabilities the RAF will start to receive with this aircraft from September.
It's quite an impressive climb a minute, isn't it?
Yeah, he's going to go, he's not going back to his static stand.
So we'll see maximum braking being applied and also maximum reverse pitch on the propellers. The four Eurocrop International TP400 engines, also new as well as the aircraft.
So the pilot's both standing on them.
Never understand how you can get reverse thrust from it.
I stop there with nothing, is it?
It's reversing.
You know, a giant of a thing like that.
They could land that on their aircraft carrier instead of the jet, but they can't get it working.
It's going backwards, huh?
Yeah.
Seen the stars,
So, completing its sequence, the Airbus A400M, a mightily imposing performer here at the Air Tattoo. And it's worth mentioning that Ed Strongman, who was captaining the aircraft and has been the chief test pilot on the programme, is retiring at the end of this year. He's a real gentleman, a very nice chap indeed. Gives splendid displays in this aeroplane, so that's his last display, I should think, at the Air Tattoo. And our thanks to Ed for showing the aircraft off so brilliantly this year, as he did back in 2010 when it made its debut. And we're really looking forward to seeing this at RAF Rise Norton. The planning for Future Rise, as it was known, started back in 2003, which saw the co-location of all of the air mobility forces in one base, which necessitated the close of RAF Lynham. Today there are 7,500 people at RAF Rise Norton, comprising 6,000 service personnel, 1,100 contractors and 350 MOD civilians. While we have a moment then, if you wouldn't mind, I'd just remind everybody that the Red Arrows are currently at the Royal Air Force in Red Arrows Village, where they're undertaking plannings of whatever you have, brochures, souvenir programs, photographs, etc. They do ask for your patience, please. They undoubtedly do a very long queue there. Please bear with them, they will get through as many as possible. And whilst I mentioned Red Arrows, just very briefly before the evening, I'm holding a very impressive book by Peter Mark, commenting on 50 years of the Red Arrows. Of course, we're celebrating here, and it's available at the Air today for just £10, signed by him at the History Press stand. Okay, back to you. Thank you, George. Yes, the Hurricane Spitfire and Lancaster of the Battle of Britain Memorial Flight cancelling out to depart. They have other commitments today, notably a display at the Flying Legends Show at Stratford towards the end of their flying programme, I believe.
Do we normally go on holidays then?
And then they'll be heading back to their base at RAF Coventry. Once we've got the BBMS clear, the next display items will be the Italian Typhoon, the Polish Orlik Steam, the Italian Tornado, the Solo Clerk F-16, the Royal Navy Merlin, the Italian ANX, and the British Tricolori.
I will try and film the Typhoon. This is going to go.
What did you say?
Typhoon is Italian Typhoon. Typhoon is going to go because the British one, the Eric didn't. This one is going to go. Not this. This is the Hurricane going to Farnborough, isn't it?